Hello everybody, this is Purple here. So this is going to be a bit of a different video than what I normally make, other than those discussion videos, so I guess that would fall under the same category. Anyways, I'm here to talk about the latest Smash Direct that happened only a couple days ago, where we got characters like Simon Belmont, Richter Belmont as an Echo Fighter, along with Chrom, Dark Samus, and King K. Rool, as they were mainly the highlights, I believe, along with 103 stages announced, new items, new assist trophies, all the music tracks that they could show off, over 800 tracks, 900 roughly, new game modes, and all that stuff. I'm not going to talk about all of it, mind you, but with soaking in all that information, now I've been able to rewatch the Direct about 9 times in different forms, whether it's a reaction video or just watching it plain, mainly plain. Anyways though, I've been looking over the Direct over and over, picking up little details that Sakurai omitted from explanation, and some little details that I found and other people have found too. And one topic of discussion lately has been an image regarding the main menu, a certain blurred mode that Sakurai hinted at that would be discussed at a later date. Now, a lot of people have already been talking about this mode and saying, oh, it's going to be the story mode or subspace or something like that. And I don't believe that's going to be the case. Some people have actually blurred as much as they could off of the image and got the word spirit or spirits. And this is the same for the Japanese Direct as well, if I'm not mistaken. And for all we know, that could honestly just be some sort of placeholder in case people were to blur the image out. And the thing is that if the mode is something called Spirits, then we have absolutely no idea what this could entail. And Luigi dying in the Direct, I don't think ties to it in any way. What I think that this mode actually will be when it's revealed at a later date, honestly, I think it's going to be the single player mode. Now, before anybody starts rolling their eyes or commenting down below how wrong I am, just hear me out on what my theory is. So first off, I want to point out the elephant in the room, the Games and More menu. In Smash 3DS and Smash 4, Games and More was where single player mode resided, essentially. From the stadiums, like Home Run Contest, Target, and all that stuff, to All-Star mode, Classic mode, you get the gist of it. But always remember that single player mode or solo mode was its own tab initially in the first 3 games. So there's a possibility that it could return as its own mode that's, you know, at the forefront with the others. Now, the other thing is that the theme with Smash 3DS and Smash 4 is that the green tab has usually been the special exclusive mode for these games, Smash Run and Smash Tour respectively. And there's a chance that this could be the same, but I don't think that might be the case. So my thing is that this is single player mode, and I think we're going to have 3 specific modes that I'll be talking about in just a second. I want to focus on Games and More for just a moment and tell you if solo mode or like the classic and all-star mode is not in there, what's in the Games and More. Well, here's my theory. Sakurai and pretty much the whole team has been like showing off with the E3 and in this Direct just how ultimate Smash Bros. Ultimate is going to be. if the amount of stages, music, and characters wasn't enough to convince you, along with all the new modes, I think that they are going to expand on the games and much more than ever before. If I had to take a guess on what they might add, the games and more could be like let's say Smash Run and Smash Tour come back in some weird collaboration. They could fit in the games and more. The stadium modes, the multi-man, the home run contest, target modes. They could even bring back old ones like Race to the Finish, Snag the Trophy, Board the Platforms. There's also the Master and Crazy Orders that they could return. There's event mode as well, so they have a ton to work with. Hell, they can even put in the trophy minigames in there instead of in the vault. But I think the vault will have all the trophy minigames if there is any. Now, in terms of what you would put in the single player tab, you would obviously have classic mode and all-star mode, most likely. But what I think that they're adding that's the meat of the single player mode, if this is the case, is not a subspace or story mode of any sort. I think we will see the return of melee-styled adventure mode. Now, my reasoning as to why I think we won't have a subspace or story mode in particular, like a story adventure like subspace, I'm no game developer and I don't know the first thing about designing a game, so I don't know, like, production wise, how fast they could make a good story with, or not a good story, but a story with unique side-scrolling events and utilizing like cutscenes and whatnot. I don't know if they can do that in such a short amount of time. Maybe they can. I count 2 years as a short amount of time. I just don't see them doing that. Like, maybe if they had maybe another year or two, then I could see the return of a story and or subspace mode. So I think they are reusing assets, just as they've already stated in an interview with Sakurai, if I'm not mistaken. Go ahead and quote me on that if I'm wrong. Sakurai was reutilizing old assets from Smash 4. And if that's the case, I think it would be easy to at least create a few extra stages that can be used as side-scrolling, but nothing to where it's story-oriented like a cutscene, like in the middle or at the end of each stage, especially for every character. There are a lot of characters they would have to add in those. At any rate, though, I think what we're going to have is a choose-your-character adventure mode where it'll be a set adventure for that specific character, going through a set amount of stages with certain events and even boss fights. And I mean like legit boss fights, almost like in Brawl, not just like you fight a character and then you move on. I think they will have that, but they'll also mix it with bosses. And my evidence for this is actually not what a lot of people think in the Rathalos reveal, but more of the Dracula's castle and Dracula himself. If you look at the footage with Dracula's castle and Dracula, you'll notice that when Simon Belmont comes up the stairs, the stage is set and like you have a good idea of what it looks like normally. But when Dracula comes on screen, you notice that the stage is completely different. It's very flat and there's not really many obstacles. Not to mention, mostly, if not all the footage shows one character fighting Dracula, and they seem to not be doing any damage. Well, that last part's irrelevant, but my point is that the stage changes and it seems to reflect really well with how Dracula's attacking everything. My other point is actually with Rathalos and how he has not only his own stage, which could be a part of a grander stage that you're running around a field, fighting monsters and getting through to fight Rathalos. If you notice one specific part during Rathalos' reveal, aside from him having his own cutscene, his in-game cutscene no less, just like how Giant Kirby would pop up with his own in-game cutscene in Melee after defeating all the Kirbys within a set amount of time, aside from all that, Rathalos has a unique attack where he goes into the background of his own stage and he fires 3 consecutive fireballs that explode to a certain degree and then leave a fire on the field specifically. Now, although he's an assist trophy, I don't think he would be flying in the background like those other assist trophies and then clipping with whatever might be in the background, whether it's Captain's hut from Tortimer Island or all the greenery and stuff from Fountain of Dreams. You know, it just doesn't seem right, in my opinion. Then again, we don't know everything Rathalos will be able to do, but if you look at the footage when he's fighting on the field in what appears to be the Monster Hunter stage, which was also not really explained or shown even right now, there is no Monster Hunter stage on the website. It just leads more to the idea that he has his own stage in a certain mode, and I think it's adventure mode. The other thing I wanted to point out is that, like I said before, if I'm right on this, Sakurai reused assets from Smash 4. And it's not just Wii U Smash 4, it's 3DS Smash 4. After all, if you look at the Mega Man stage, the hazards from that, or specifically the platforms from that stage, are mixed in with the Wii U's. So that and the stages aside, they've already used assets from there. But how much more have they used? I'm thinking that they're using Smash Run enemies as well. And they will be featured as obstacles while you're going through your adventure mode through certain areas. Another thing that kind of helps support this, in my opinion, is look that we have a young Link, designed originally from Ocarina of Time, and Ganondorf, who's also redesigned from Ocarina of Time. These two characters also have enemies that are based on Ocarina of Time from the 3DS Smash Run, which is the Stalfos and the Redeads. I'm using that specifically because it's set in a certain game style. Because you can use any Mario character or Mario enemy as a Mario reference. They don't really change all that much. With Zelda, it's more specific from the game. I don't know if I'm making any sense on that, but just bear with me. What I think is that they might have another underground maze of sorts where they will reuse the Redeads and Stalfos from Smash Run, and you'll be running around through the maze, possibly fighting young Link at some point, and then ending off with fighting Ganondorf, instead of it being Link, adult Link, and then Zelda in the temple. That's my theory. Hell, you might even fight Sheik, which honestly would make a little more sense, but at the same time she is more based on a Breath of the Wild style, but I digress. The thing is that we might have a better fleshed out adventure mode with more enemies and more locations based on different games than just going from stage to stage like in classic mode. Speaking of which, the reason why I say that this might be a set series of stages for characters is because Sakurai does mention that for classic mode, yes, it is going back to the classic scenario where you fight through a set amount of stages and fight different opponents. However, for every character, it's already preset. So I'm willing to bet that if there's an adventure mode of sorts, like I'm thinking, it'll be the same for each character. If anything, you might start off with that character's series level and then go through like 5 or even 9 different stages of like different random levels. And I mentioned this before in one of my videos regarding the first player mode and how they should probably do this. But in that video, I mentioned that they should all be random with the exception of the first and the last stage. One last thing I want to bring up that kind of helps with this theory a little bit, or at least it just puts me at ease putting things all together. Pay attention to Final Destination. Now, this may not have any bearing on adventure mode per se, but I just want to put in your head this idea. First off, remember Master Fortress from Smash Wii U. He used enemies from Smash Run that are nowhere else in the game, but with their own design, this weird electric black gooey whatever design that was used to block your path and create obstacles within the fortress that were based on enemies from Metroid. They used the Stalfos, and they used those electric Kirby enemies and those flower enemies from, I think, Kid Icarus Uprising. So it wouldn't be a shot in the dark for them to reuse the assets into Ultimate to use for enemies in an adventure mode and a returning Master Core. Now, bring your attention to Final Destination as it was shown in the direct. Notice that in the second scene, when the stage gets more edgier, in the background we see a black cloud and a flaming light, or an orange light. Flaming light. We see an orange light in the background, and all these like shadow bugs or these little this like flurry of dark matter just like shooting out of the cloud. Notice how it looks fairly similar to how there was a whole bunch of that black clutter from Master Core whenever you fought it. I think they're shadow bugs. I think that's what it's called. I'm just going to refer to it as that, and if I'm wrong, correct me, please. Notice how there's shadow bugs in the background of Final Destination. I think that's a good hint that, at the very least, if there's an adventure mode, we could be fighting Master Hand and or Crazy Hand, or both, within this stage, and then actually like beating them down to 0 HP, only for the stage to slowly transition into the cloud where we find the Master Core, and eventually go through one final stage as the true Master Fortress, which would be a great send-off on adventure mode, where you're most likely side-scrolling all over the place, or in most places. Because it felt really out of place to fight Master Fortress at the end of classic mode in the Wii U, because you never had an open area like that before. Unless you fought in Palutena's Temple, but that's neither here nor there. One other thing I want to bring to the attention is that Sakurai has made it a point of discussion, or not a point of discussion, but a point that you can KO assist trophies and that you can fight them. And what I'm thinking is that for special matches, if this isn't an event mode, this would probably fit adventure mode, where in certain stages, not only are you fighting a certain enemy, like let's say you're fighting Richter Belmont in Dracula's castle, like before or after you fight Dracula, but while you're fighting him, you're also fighting an ongoing assist trophy, Alucard, and you have to KO both of them. Like, Alucard won't go away after a while, he'll keep going, so I think that would actually help encourage you to get used to assist trophies. Because after all, why would he keep like insisting that you can KO these trophies? Because you can KO the assist trophies in Smash Wii U, but I think only if you are going against them. If you're the one that summoned them, I don't think that's the case. But you can KO them. I have done it before. It is very difficult though. And when I say KO, I mean you can attack them, and if you do enough damage, they spawn out. They don't really go into the blast zone. So I guess that's what he meant, but still. One last thing about the assist trophies being KO'd is that some assist trophies have appeared as enemies, if not in subspace like the Hammer Brother, then in Smash Run like the Chain Chomp. So just a little food for thought. And there could also be other scenarios, like let's say if Skull Kid ends up becoming playable, but he becomes one of the enemies you fight in adventure mode. A certain scenario could be where you have to beat him in a certain amount of time before the moon strikes. Otherwise, it's an automatic game over. Just a thought. At any rate, that's all I got in terms of this. Like I said, if this is a single player mode, it would most likely house classic mode, the adventure mode that I'm talking about, and all-star mode. My ultimate reason as to why I think this mode is single player mode, and why I've like connected all these bits that may not even exist, is because, like I said earlier, Sakurai has wanted to make the point that this is the ultimate Super Smash Bros. Game. And I would not be surprised if he tried something like this and announced it in the next Direct. So tell me what you guys think. Do you like my idea? Leave a comment. Do you dislike my idea? Tell me why. If you think that it is Spirits, if it's story mode or subspace, give me your reason why. I'd rather have your feedback than your like or dislike, really. But if you want to give it a like, I mean, sure, why not? That's nice. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this. Sorry if I actually sound a little different than I do for my Let's Plays. I'm actually recording this off of something else, and I wanted to give it a shot because I think I have a chance at editing it better than I could on my computer. So if it turned out great, then hooray! If not, I am terribly sorry, and sorry for the bad audio. Anyways, I've been your host, Purple, and I'll see you guys next time. And if you'd like me to make another video like this, again, let me know, because I'm all for it. I find this one to be kind of fun. Alright, see you later.